It's Sunday night. It's 8 o'clock. Sorry, it's Monday night. It's 8 o'clock. Sorry, my day's all mixed up. Long weekends, And we're off and running. Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. I'm Gary Groob in Toronto, I think. It's quiet in this city. No Leafs. Groundhog Day yet again. Sorry to hear that. Not a Leaf fan. Sorry, guys. With me, as always, I have the elated Shawn Slaght over in Moose Jaw. Probably smiled the whole way up there.
Oh, yeah. Still buzzing from last night.
And in Connecticut, I have Muffler Mike. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. Well, guys, before we get rolling, might I just say to everybody, happy 3rd anniversary for our show. Yes.
Excellent.
We came on the air as All Lacrosse all the time 3 years ago. And it has been a great ride ever since. Ooh. Eduardo's with us. Welcome, Eduardo.
Eduardo.
Hell of a game.
Oh, is it?
St. Augustine over in that, I guess it's a sauna over there now. Well, over here, I imagine it's going to be a sauna over there. But we got a lot to cover tonight. We do have some NLL playoffs to discuss. We have a game 3 ahead of us. By the way, for those of you keeping score of where to watch it and how, it is at 4:30 Eastern, not the usual 7:30. 4:30 Eastern time, which is a 1:30 game for you out west on ESPN, on TSN, and on every other shut-in, including NLL Plus. So you don't want to miss that. You don't want to tune in at 7:30 and go, why is there no game?
So it's actually not only on ESPN Plus, but it's on ESPN2. So it's going to be national on a linear network in the States.
Oh, excellent.
So
that's big.
For anyone in the States who doesn't have NLL Plus or doesn't have ESPN Plus, it is on ESPN2 at 4:30 on Saturday.
Perfect.
That's big.
That's going to be right after the
NCAA finals, yeah.
NCAA finals.
Yeah.
Big weekend next weekend.
Semis.
Yeah. Whole day of lacrosse in
State,
ESPN.
Maryland,
Excellent.
Cornell, and Syracuse have made the Final Four. So
I believe Eduardo's made his.
Yes. Yes.
Good got
pick,
game
Eduardo.
1 wrong.
Good
He
pick.
got game 2 right, and he's picked for. Got it, Eduardo. You're doing your 3. I got it. Just before we get rolling, just a reminder to everybody that we are, as always, streaming live across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, also Instagram Live. Remember, hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons. Always share. Please enjoy our affiliates. There are a lot of shows up and coming. There are CFL shows coming. We have Streampunk Cinema going full tilt. We have Streampunk Combat going full tilt. And you can catch all these shows on the Streampunk network, or if you missed a show, no worries. You can catch all the shows on YouTube at Streampunk Sports, at All Across all the time, obviously for us, or at Streampunk Combat for any of the combat sports, wrestling, boxing, or any of the MMA things. If you're looking for our stuff, get on to All Across all the time on YouTube, where you can catch retro games, interviews, press conferences, our library of shows, as well as so much more. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting streampunkentertainment.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. Also, the show is brought to you by 60. 60 is Canada's newest and most exciting sports uniform teamwear brand, delivering top-quality uniforms and teamwear that reflects the spirit and identity of each team. Their commitment to innovation and excellence sets them apart, ensuring that every customer experiences the perfect blend of style and functionality. Unleash your greatness with 60. Add LaxTalk 10 for a 10% discount on your order. Also, if you want to get a hold of them, you can take a look at either the QR code that's on our screen now. You can go on to Instagram at sweet_60. You can email Jim at info.sweet60@gmail.com, or go on to their website directly at www.sweet60.ca/60. Excellent products. Jim will work with you with anything you need. So give him a check. For apparel or jerseys or whatever your team needs or whatever individuals you need. Gym is there for everybody. Couple of things upcoming. Excuse me. Down east, we have the High Tide Lacrosse giving a goalie clinic, which is over in Nova Scotia. Go on to Instagram, onto High Tide Lacrosse to get all the information. It's only $50 for the 2-hour clinic, $10 if anybody who wants to be a shooter for the goalie clinic. So get a hold of Zach Kerrigan and Brett Draper, who were on my show the other day, and they will hook you up. A couple of bits of news. Ryan Lanchbury is now the assistant coach for the Burlington Blaze Junior A lacrosse team. That's big. He heads the team headed, of course, by Dan McRae. They are looking for a comeback to the Minto. Some news out of MSL, which also starts tonight. Brad McCulley has signed with the Peterborough Lakers. This is a Peterborough and Six Nations show, guys. Because Cam Wires was traded over to Six Nations from Oakville. Warren Jeffrey is heading on over to Peterborough. It just keeps going back and forth. Meanwhile, let's not overrule Brampton and all the moves they've made. Be interesting to see as this game goes along as we're on the show, because, of course, Brampton is in the game with Six Nations in the bread and cheese game as we speak. They would have just had their opening face-off momentarily. Just having a quick look. Yes, it's 1-1. Just merely 3 minutes into the game. It's going to be a barn burner. Doug Jameson's in net, by the way, for y'all. And I believe Riley Hutchcraft is in for the Brampton team. Notice I have a Casey Zaff jersey behind me. One of the retro ones.
Nice.
Well, we had a couple more awards awarded this week. I'm going to start with this one because, we'd all wondered, would Dane Smith come back again and be the MVP? And we have a resounding no. Connor Fields, most valuable player. Congratulations to Connor. Really well deserved. What a great year he had, eh, guys?
Oh yeah, well deserved.
Yeah. I think that was the right choice. I mean, I honestly, if you take Fields or Westberg off those teams, neither of those teams, I think, make the playoffs.
Great.
100%. Yeah.
Whereas you take Dane Smith off and Buffalo's still a contender.
Yeah.
So,
well, just before we announce the next one, I want to bring in, of course, Mr. Albany for us. Caden, welcome back to the show. Nice to have you. He's so silent now, isn't he?
Yep.
I was speaking. I was doing my whole Eminem guess who's back again. Now it feels played out, so I'm not even gonna bother. Feels good to be back though.
What a rush.
What a rush indeed.
What a rush, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I did bring you back because I want you to introduce who the Rookie of the Year is in the NLL this year.
Let's go back to back. I think this was a very close choice. We talked about it in our little personal chats about could it be Dyson, could it be Brennan, and with the choice they went with Dyson Williams winning Rookie of the Year. I mean, how could you not? He really, even with all of the hype that was put behind him coming into the season, because a lot of it was a lot of talk about like he's going to jump in and he's going to be ready for NLL ball right away. And he had his struggles. He definitely had his struggles at the start of the season, but as time went on and as games went on, he finally found his game. He finally started to feel more comfortable, and you saw that as the season went on. And the same went for Brennan. I mean, obviously, I think Brennan had a more hot start personally. Then he kind of started to falter a little bit, whereas Dyson kind of faltered at the start a little bit and took off. And it was in those late games that Dyson was getting those 2-3 goal games, those 4-5 point nights to help Albany push for the playoffs, to make them that close. And I have his stats right here for in all 18 games. He played all 18 games, 26 goals, 38 assists for 64 points. Now, the comparison to the past Rookie of the Year is obviously going to be there because, you know, he was a Firewolf. Alex Simmons winning Rookie of the Year last year for, if I'm not mistaken, it was 109 points. Nope. Was it? Nope. I thought it was more. It was 96 points. 38 goals, 58 assists. Still.
Being a big part of them going to the finals as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's the comparison of Dyson to Alex on those back-to-back Rookie of the Years is tough because obviously the points aren't there, but I think the production was there in spots on the field that we normally didn't see with Alex, because I think Alex was a focal front of the offense last year. I mean, obviously 96 points, while Dyson was able to take not a step back, but he was able to take on, learn more of that defensive game, learn more of that transition game, and, like we say, get accustomed to NLL ball. While it feels like Alex was just ready for it right away, and they trusted him with almost every offensive possession. I mean, almost 40 goals shows it.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, like we said, they definitely made the right choice. Definitely made the right choice with that. Though I did have my suspicions that they were going to go with Brennan O'Neill. It just seemed a little bit too convenient, because they had seemed to rest their horses on there all day and all year. And, it took me a little bit by surprise that they actually did recognize Dyson for what he was worth.
And that's kind of something that I was thinking, because when you look at these two players coming in, obviously Dyson and Brennan, who were both making their NLL debuts this year, the one thing was that I feel like a lot of the look and a lot of the love was towards Brennan. And I mean, how could it not? Jumping right in compared to Dyson taking that year. How could you not say all eyes on Brennan O'Neill? And while they took that, they pushed, I'm not going to say they pushed Dyson off to the side, but they didn't fully give him the recognition that he deserved for what he did on the offense this year. And while the points don't show it again, it's what he did off the ball as well.
Right.
I mean, I would just add to that too. I think there were a large handful of guys who could have maybe filled that third finalist spot as well, and that's no disrespect to Adam Patois, but he had a solid rookie season. Mike Robinson had a solid rookie season in Halifax. Jake Naso in Saskatchewan.
Brock Haley.
Yep. And Brock Haley won Rookie of the Week 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
This
he didn't even make the all rookie team, let alone, which is boggling to me.
I mean, it's another, stats aren't there, but off the ball is Will Johansson making all rookie team for transition.
Yep. I mean, he certainly could have been put up. Alex Stathakis could have been put up as well. Maybe I want to say maybe the narrative just kind of wasn't the same as last year, because there wasn't kind of a clear cut like there was with Simmons and Ty Kurtz. I mean, really, it was teammates. It was kind of a 2-horse race the whole way, and I mean, I can't even think of who else was. I don't even know who else was the third finalist last year. So-
Yeah, I'm right there with
because
you.
all the
I'm-
focus was on Simmons and Kurtz.
Yeah.
But I mean, you knew it was probably going to be Williams and O'Neal, but then that third spot could have gone to any one of those guys that I just mentioned. You know, and they would have been deserving of a nomination.
Right. A couple of other winners for you guys who all think that Saskatchewan doesn't have a goalie. That particular goalie is the goalie of the year, Mr. Zuliano.
French Leon. And
I
oh, go ahead,
do just
Cade.
want to quickly jump in here.
Mhm.
Owen Grant was the other finalist for Rookie of the Year last year.
Okay.
Right. Now, don't feel sorry for Dane Smith. He did win Offensive Player of the Year, so he's going home with something.
Yes.
Just in case you're
That,
feeling a little bit
and that
down.
was well deserved.
Little hurt in the heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Transition Player of the Year was Owen Grant. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, you could say that. Well, you know, hey, for kind of being pushed off to the side last year in the
Mhm.
2-horse race for Rookie of the Year. I'm mostly okay with that decision. I kind of thought it should have gone to Ryan Terefenko. I just felt like he stood out to me a little more this year on transition than Grant did. I mean, I know
Yeah.
Grant had a solid season, so
Defensive Player of the Year stays in the Hossack family, but goes to the other Hossack. It goes to Matt for a
Yeah.
change. His first one.
Yeah, and well deserved. He had a hell of a
Yeah.
year. And
absolutely.
you know, everyone's been talking like how now that you look at how did he slide down that dispersal draft?
Absolutely. And the Borelli Award winner. Really well deserved, in my opinion. I've got a good rapport with him as well. With John Gertler,
Yes.
voice of the Bandits.
Legend. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed my time working with him this year. Especially enjoyed doing the halftime show with him over in Toronto, which is a lot of fun.
I
True
got the
professional.
chance. I got the chance to meet him when Buffalo took the travel to Albany. And just great guy. Just something with the award. Like it sucks to not see Adam close to up there, but Adam is stepping away from lacrosse for the time being, so we do wish him all the best. One of my, at least, personal mentors in the short time that I've been in the sport.
Yeah, Adam's a great guy. I've had him on my other
Yeah.
show also, and but he wasn't even on the list.
Yeah.
Nor was Stamper, nor was I.
Soon enough.
Yeah.
I'm making a wild assumption that my name wasn't in the running at all.
I looked. Which is funny. The Stamper and I were in Prague, and we were musing over the list, looking at the names that weren't there, as opposed to all the names that were there.
Further.
And, well, is what it is. General Manager of the Year, the evil genius, Derek Keenan.
4 years now. 4-time now. 4-time GM of the year.
And the only reason he couldn't take the coach one too, because we gave that to Jimmy Quinlan.
Yeah, which was weird because obviously they're co-coaches, but apparently the team made the decision to put Jimmy in alone. There you go.
Not bad. Usually the worst gets overlooked, eh?
Yeah. Does anyone feel like maybe the one or both of those was a minor upset, and that Kurt Malosky, who was nominated for both, didn't win either?
I'll be honest with the GM. I was a little bit surprised because we didn't think that Christian Del Bianco trade was going to happen this year. Let's face it. We thought that was a few years down, and
that is that the entire Saskatchewan team came from where they were to where they are now in a year. They had potential, but the final pieces were put in the offseason by Derek Keenan. Del Bianco doesn't come to Vancouver, and all the stuff that he did over there still wasn't enough because they weren't going to go to the playoffs. Del Bianco comes in and goes 8-0. That's your final piece. So it makes an argument for Del Bianco to be goalie of the year, even though he only played half a year. I don't think it bolsters his GM of the year argument. Just saying.
That's I mean,
That's fair.
That's
Yeah.
a fair point.
Yeah.
So,
Dave, thank you for joining in as always. Appreciate it.
I was just gonna say on the side for Jimmy, I mean, he's come a long ways as a coach. I've noticed this year, a real long ways, and I think that a lot of that has to do with having Derek on the bench with him. I mean, he used to be a guy who really, had his heart on his sleeve, emotional guy on the bench, and there's times where you just need calm. And I noticed he was a lot more even keeled this year, and I think that comes a lot from Derek.
Well, even Teddy mentioned it last night, right? That he'll do anything. Trainer was busy with something. He was opening and closing gates.
Yeah.
So no job is too big or too small when the team comes first.
absolutely.
And when you lead like that from the top, that filters down to even the lowliest of lowly practice squad player. And it shows.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Lead by
Because you
example.
don't really see the bench whining on any calls that don't go their way or bad calls against them. You don't really see anybody there like you see most teams in the NLL or NHL or NFL or NBA. But I don't see that much.
And that's the thing. And Jimmy used to be that. Like, I always said it's hard to take the player out of him sometimes. And especially when he was the assistant coach and the offense coordinator, I believe it was. But this year, he, like you said, he's been a lot more even keeled and a lot more calmer on the bench. And I think a lot of that comes from Derek and just saying, like, hey, like, let it go. It's fine. We'll work it through.
Mm-hmm. And even his press conferences are a lot more even keeled.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem too disheveled regardless. So, which is a good thing. Because again, grace under pressure filters down. If you're erratic from the top down, your team is that way.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why the Bandits haven't lost their spin or spun out of control, because Tavares is so calm behind the bench. And so is Eric Vince. Dietrich sometimes can be a little bit hard. Like the Rusty and Dietrich, since they are friends, and going at each other's throats in Toronto in a regular season game in February. But as for the other two, very calm, very collected. But while I got you here, Caden, of course, we have our pick'ems.
That's okay. I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
I think I'm ready
for tough weekend.
I have so many columns going here now.
Shawn.
Hey, you guys fought till the end.
Shawn, I think it's more impressive to go 0-2 than 2-0. So I'm giving us credit. I'm not giving any credit to Gary. No credit to Mike. It's just me and you.
You see, we got the right we got the right teams, just the wrong games.
Hey, look, I'm not gonna bash on you guys for your logic, because I mean, you had two teams that had excellent road records this year, so they were among the leaders, in games, winning games on the road. So I mean and it was hard not to feel like Saskatchewan had more momentum coming off that win over Halifax, that comeback win.
Thanks, Dave.
While the Bandits rested for a week. So, it was easy. And I did the same thing. I went with Saskatchewan game one. I thought, hey, they're just going to steal it on the road and keep it going and try to close it out at home. So
hey, all props to Pat, though, man. He went 8-2 in the playoffs to this point.
That's what I was like.
Yeah.
He had a perfect week the first week, which was the toughest one of the bunch.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah.
Because I believe I went 1-3 in that week.
I
was finding ways to try and hand it to him.
It's kind of crazy how you and Pat are coming down to it's not only coming down to the last game, to game 3, but it's also coming down to literally the last game for you guys. How it's so close.
It'll say, the best. Yeah, Darn right.
Yeah, I can. Of course, I can always go with Buffalo and just take it, or I can go with my heart and take Saskatchewan like I was planning on. Let him take.
Does Gary want to tie at the end, or does he want to win it all?
No,
No.
chaos!
I'm
Come
going to win
on.
anyways because
Play to
Saskatchewan
win.
is winning next week at 4:30 in the afternoon Eastern.
Gary's calling it
2:30
now.
Saskatchewan time, 1:30 Vancouver time, and anybody else, you can figure it out for yourself. I am not doing any more math. Well, okay. In Prague, it's 10:30 in the evening. Okay, this is what I know. But even that is early enough that you can stay up and still have your Pilsner or Kel.
Yeah.
By the way, I found a bar that serves it here.
Excellent.
There you go.
I was watching hockey. I was listening to a band, and I was Pilsner or Kel. That is a perfect evening, and sitting on a patio and not shivering. A perfect evening.
I don't know. Sean would probably prefer an original 16. So.
Oh yeah. An
I have
016
my
will do it for me.
original mug over here also. So don't worry.
Oh yeah.
I'm hoping for this
Hold my
cross-border
Gatorade.
thing to be this interprovincial thing to be done, so I can start picking that stuff up too. There's a few I'd like, big truck from BC I'd like, and original 16 I'd like, and
What? No turf?
if you happen to be traveling and you really want
salty from San Diego.
just DM me. You can give me a couple of salties too if you're happy to be in San Diego. Or whatever you're calling it, sure. You guys aren't drinking it now anyway. Just tears, salty tears. Imagine that, eh? Saskatchewan has a goalie that wins the goalie of the year. But
But
they don't have
San
a goalie.
Diego cast it off.
They just don't have a goal. Can't win a big game.
You couldn't win the big game, yeah.
Soft team. Can't do it. That's been the rumors I've been hearing. Certainly looks soft over on last night.
Yeah. I'm
Especially
pretty sure he went toe to toe with the greatest of all time in the other end there.
Yeah, when Buffalo took the lead, they certainly looked like they went into a shell and just fetal position in the corner, and that was it.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to a little bit of the junior and some other a couple of games. It is a long weekend here in Canada. I believe it's in the U.S. as well, is it not?
No, that's next weekend.
Is it? Oh, next weekend.
Next weekend.
Sorry, guys. However, I'm missing my my chicken wrap mic.
Oh,
Yeah.
the counter's at 0.
Counts
Already
to
game
0.
in.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
make it out.
Stays at 0.
Didn't make it out to Nations last night because I was watching NLL. I was also watching the city go silent here.
Oh boy.
It's Groundhog Day for the 417th year in a row.
Oh, boy.
Hey, you know what they should do with that? They should say Groundhog Day is coming out with a sequel and give you the same one.
Yep.
That'd be funny. So,
But yeah, Groundhog Day. It's been for the last 58 years now. Been Groundhog Day.
Just the next question is, where does Mitch Marner go?
Probably anywhere but Toronto. Even though
Where did Austin Matthews go?
he's still going to be here. He'll be here. Tavares probably
Yeah.
won't. Tavares is only down the road over Mississauga, right? So, hey, you know what? Here's a thought. Maybe Tavares goes to Buffalo.
Interesting.
Will the Sabres
Uncle
fans
like Matthew.
understand the connection?
They could share the same room.
Yeah. Coach Keenan.
All the same thing. Well, we're gonna keep one in lacrosse and one in hockey. But however, Tavares, the hockey player, is actually a better lacrosse player than he's a hockey player.
Your coach.
That
So-
doesn't surprise me, actually. Yeah.
No, he loves the game. But hey, make your money where you make your money.
Yep.
Maybe one day, maybe we'll all still be alive too, when lacrosse players make that kind of money. But I'm wondering at that point, would they have a fan base? Because the people who are going to the games now because it's affordable. would they still be able to afford tickets?
Yeah, price
If
out
it went
your
full time.
place. Yeah.
That's always been my question. Yes, it would be great for the game. Yes, it'd be great to have practices. Yes, it'd be great to have affiliates. Yes, it'd be great to have all this, that, and the other. Would you have any fans? Because would they be able to afford tickets? And just using a number of $50 just to make it nice and easy to multiply. 9-game season home, $450. Now 9 games becomes 20 games, not even 40 games, but 20 games. Can they still afford it? And are they going to pay one ticket? Can they still bring the family?
You also have to look at the CFL model where they're making, enough to do it full time, but also enough to make it affordable for the fans.
But you can also put 35,000 into a stadium. And some teams actually get it.
Yeah.
Whereas you're averaging 8,000 or 9,000 for a game. Some a little less, some a little more. Just to be fair on either side of the coin. Now, granted, there's more ways of making revenue nowadays with TV contracts and with merch and with other things. There's layers. But still, if they're going full time and they're giving up what they're studying for, like how are we going to lose a lot of guys from the game who are brokers, who are first responders, who are, in the case of Sandy Chapman, who was a registered nurse. Are we losing them because that's what they study and that's what they love to do?
Yep.
And when the career is over, do they have to start from scratch? Whereas now they're already in the business, and when the career is over, they just go full time and away they go, and still are associated with the game. There's a lot of pros and cons to this argument, I think, more than what we really. Yeah, I'd love it to be full time. There's a lot more to it than just that.
Yeah, and I want to say that's probably going to start, after the season's over with whatever's going to happen with the CBA.
Yeah.
Yeah, they even kind of tiptoed around that in the halftime interview with Brett Fruit. They'll just try and hammer it out. And
cautiously optimistic that they could hammer it out quickly without too much dragging out. But
yeah, we haven't had any strife in the last number of years. It'd be a shame if they stopped all the momentum with a strike. That would just be shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
But we're not anywhere near the 11th hour yet, so hopefully over the summer they can all figure it out and away they go. All right, some junior stuff just before we go. Junior just started up over in Ontario, and a couple of scores from Wednesday. The Toronto Beaches beat the St. Catharines Athletics. Now remember, the Minto Cup is in St. Catharines. I believe this is the last year in the old system in which if you're hosting, you are in. Where's that President's Cup? I'm thinking they're the top two.
I'm not sure if it's President. I know President's Cup. They're implementing the 3 NLL player rule. Right. Starting this year.
Right, but I'm pretty sure that it's the top 2 teams. The ones who made the finals are both going to the Minto still. So, but anyways, Beaches beat St. Catharines 13-6. St. Catharines came back on Friday and beat Brampton in their home opener 13-12 with an overtime goal by Caden Zavitz. And almost at the end of overtime. I think there was 49 seconds left. So waiting till the very last possible second to win that game.
Got to do it in fashion.
Well, we had a few of those games over in OSL too. We'll get into that in a minute. Six Nation Arrows. They open up their season against the Burlington Blaze today. And, they won 10-8. They beat the Burlington Blaze 10-8. Very, very evenly played game. A couple extra things in the second, and that was the big difference in everything. Why don't we head over west and over to the – where are we going to, Sean?
Actually, you know what? I actually just realized the Junior A's had started up already here. So we'll go to Junior A's and then we'll go over to the Prairie Gold Lacrosse League and Junior B. So actually last weekend on the 10th, we saw the Okotoks Raiders take an 8-4 win over the Edmonton Miners. Then on the 11th, we actually had a tie 8-8 between the Calgary Mounties and the Miners. Then this weekend on Saturday, the Mounties had a 12-5 win over the Saskatchewan SWAT. And then last night, or actually yesterday afternoon, it was a 9-6 win for the Mounties again over the SWAT in the doubleheader weekend. Then over to the Junior B, couple midweek games. On Wednesday, the Saskatoon SWAT picked up an 18-4 win over the Weyburn Razorbacks. And then a bit of an upset on Thursday. The Swift Current Wolverines handed the Moose Jaw Mustangs their first loss with a 12-9 win. And then actually tonight, we'll have the undefeated Prince Albert Predators taking on the Saskatoon SWAT. So just kind of the standings right now for that. The Prince Albert Predators, like I said, they're actually 4-0-1. So they got the one tie. Moose Jaw Mustangs are 3-1. Yeah, the Saskatoon SWAT at 2-1-1. Swift Current at 2-3. The Weyburn Razorbacks at 1-3, and then the Regina Chaos at 0-4.
All right.
And of course, next weekend we get started up with seniors.
Excellent. Excellent. Gonna be busy, busy, busy. Over on the Ontario Series Lacrosse in Senior B, the Brooklyn had a busy week. Brooklyn from last Sunday until yesterday played 3 times. Last Sunday, they beat on the Brooklyn Merchants, beat on the Collingwood Cruisers. The score was 13-4. It was over after 1. It was 5-0 after 1. It was actually 12-0 after 2. And Collingwood got a few back over in the third, but not nearly enough from the hole that they had dug. Now, remember the night earlier than that, the Hamilton Bengals opened their season against the Ennismore James gang and beat them 18-0. So I almost honestly thought that we were actually going to see 2 shutouts back to back, but turned out that Collingwood had a few goals in them, and 13-4 was the final there. On Tuesday, Brooklyn headed up into the Ennismore James gang vicinity, and this you would expect would have been just a walk away with the Merchants just going full tilt on them. This game was 12-10 for Brooklyn, and it was tied with not a lot of time left. And the last couple of seconds, a couple of goals. Pretty amazing. Friday nights, the Merchants turned around and played the Hamilton Bengals, and probably was the best game that I've seen this year. And this came down to a Parker Pfeiffer goal with 30 seconds left to win this game 12-11. Brooklyn was up 5-1 after 1. It was 9-8 for Brooklyn at the intermission after 2. Hamilton woke up with 7 goals in the second. And again, they tied it up, and a good chunk of the third was back and forth with no goals being scored, with Deacon Knott and just double checking the goalie in the game. Of course, when I need it, I don't get it. Yeah, it was Deacon Knott and Lucas Nagy in nets. Lucas Nagy for Hamilton. And again, with 30 seconds left, Parker Pfeiffer scores the winning goal. And in true Parker Pfeiffer fashion. Last night, Six Nations hosted the Hamilton Bengals, and a big second period is the difference in this game. Hamilton loses to Six Nations 12-7. Thunderhill and Jordan Goddard were the leaders for Six Nations in that attack with a few goals each. Gareth Hay was a huge contributor for Hamilton, in which 3 goals for Gareth Hay. Thunderhill wound up with 3 goals, 5 assists in this game. Jordan Goddard had 3 goals and an assist. But the second period was the big difference there. Dusty Hill played, Ellen Henhawk played amazing for Six Nations. Just shut them down altogether. Hamilton in the third. And Jackson Brown was in net for the Hamilton Bengals. Looking forward, coming up this week. Next weekend, you have Brooklyn against Six Nations on the 24th. You have Collingwood facing the Ennismore James gang. And on the Sunday, you have Hamilton facing Owen Sound and Six Nations facing Collingwood. So busy weekend with everybody in action next weekend in Ontario Series Lacrosse.
Yeah. If I can interject, Gary, sorry. BC Junior actually started up as well. If you don't mind me giving a few scores here.
Sure.
Friday, Port Coquitlam opened it up with an 11-5 win over Langley. On Saturday, he had Victoria 11 over Burnaby 3, and Nanaimo defeated Port Coquitlam 11-6. Then last night you had Delta, a 10-5 win over Nanaimo. And the game of the weekend was Victoria and Coquitlam. Victoria was down 4 in the third quarter and scored 5 straight to pick up a 9-8 win over Coquitlam, the Adanacs.
All righty. Mike, are you sitting? Major Series Lacrosse. After one period, it is Brampton 3, Six Nations 2.
Wow.
Shots on goal after one. Brampton 20, Six Nations 12.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm hoping they update their site a little bit because Unknown has got a lot of the goals and the penalties.
Yeah,
Oh,
that unknown hell of a player.
that's my favorite player.
The last Brampton goal apparently was Unknown from Unknown and undefined Matt Pereira. Glad to see the MSL one.
Yep, just give him the man cup now.
Yes, unknown the MVP.
I'm amazed they have the shots on goal. To tell you the truth.
Those
It's,
shots
it's
on goal are
interesting.
unknown to me.
Well, you know, I look at one of the Six Nations goals, and it was unknown from Lyle Thompson, and unknown. But don't be despaired because undefined Matt Pereira got the first goal. No, the second goal for Brampton. Undefined Matt Pereira. Oh, Josh Maduro was just given an assist on that goal. Literally as we're speaking. Zach Sunderland also got a goal in that game. The first goal of the game was from unknown from Randy Stotts and Lyle Thompson. So,
Hey, listen,
Hey.
the scorekeeper's enjoying that chicken wrap. So
absolutely.
give him a break.
Unknown is
Give
going to
him a
deserve. He's going to earn himself a couple of beers because he's doing well. He's from parts unknown.
Height unknown. Weight unknown.
Unknown.
I'm sorry, but as we're speaking, Brampton's now up 4-2.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I believe we have a different Brampton team that's here, as someone who looked a lot like me had mentioned that they had addressed a lot of the issues from last year and kept a lot of the really good things from last year.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. I look forward to seeing them on Thursday. Peterborough's got their home opener against Six Nations. I won't be out there. I'll be in Peterborough the following Thursday for their game there. I believe it's against Brampton. But I will be in Brampton Thursday night. So that should be an exciting thing. Looking forward to that. Also looking forward to either sweating or freezing over in Coburg, depending which arena they're in. Burger Arena, you got to wear shorts and a tank top. If you're in the community center, you got to wear meat locker stuff. I'll bring my cold gear. My trunk is full. Depends on which arena I'm going to. I'm looking forward to going to Brooklyn. I want to see the New York Riptide turf live and in color.
Yeah.
Everybody is talking about how great it is there, and after all the years of cement, it looks good. I want to see it live because it's eye-catching, a great arena. Was just missing that. It was funny because I had Brett Traper and Zach Kerrigan on Thursday from the Nova Scotia Privateers, and of course Zach is with Brooklyn, both Brooklyn teams, and Brett Draper is coming up to the Brooklyn Merchants later on. He's playing out east right now with Dartmouth, but he's still young, so he still likes cement. And we've all mentioned to him, don't worry, you're going to love turf soon.
You love turf.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anything that cushions a little bit on our knees is a much better thing. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes on the Brampton score, and we'll keep you up to date as we go along here. Now that brings us over to, the NLL. And, in my eyes, this really could be 2-0 either team.
Yeah.
Both teams could have won either game, in my eyes. That's how great a series it's been. Shawn, talk to us a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we can start with game one, I guess, in Buffalo. And, yeah, I mean, any questions about the Rush? I mean, they got off to a quick start in that game. Clark Walter, Levi Anderson was in the lineup and for Mike Triolo, and they got him up to a 2-0 lead. Of course, Buffalo is not going to give it up, right? Josh Byrne, Kyle Buchanan ties it up. Austin Shanks, we'll get to it, but he's at 16 points in this, just in this championship series alone. Gives the Rush a 1-goal lead in Bandit land. Here we go. Brock Haley, we're talking about that Rookie of the Year stuff, makes it a 2-goal game for the Rush. Here's where I think was a bit of a turning point, though. Levi Anderson, who you could tell that Buffalo defense was having a hard time containing that big body, scored a beautiful goal, but it was challenged and his foot was in the crease. That would have counted. That would have given the Rush a 3-goal lead, and boy, Buffalo's up against the wall now. Didn't count, so still a 2-goal lead. And what does Buffalo do? They score in bunches. Ian McKay with 2. And then Chase Fraser, another. Now all of a sudden Buffalo's ahead. Here we go, back and forth. No one can get momentum. Mike Messenger ties it up. Shanks gives him the lead with 50 seconds left in the half. 35 seconds left in the half. Ian McKay again. We're tied up at the half. Exactly what we expected, right? Just a slugfest between the two top teams in the league. Zach Mans shows up now. He puts in a couple, and the Rush are up again by 2. And again, it looks like the Rush have the momentum. Ian McKay scores again on the power play. Makes it 1. Ryan Keenan puts the Rush up again by 2. Dane Smith comes back. Austin Shanks again. We have a 10-8 game. And here comes the Buffalo Bandits. Again, Dane Smith with 2 and Kyle Buchanan on a 3-goal run. And now Buffalo's ahead by 1, hanging into the 4th. And then kind of a weird 4th quarter. And something that they kind of bring up with game 2 when we get to it. Nobody scored, basically. And that's maybe where the Rush kind of downfalls, where they really couldn't crack through. And credit to Matt Vince, too, being, Matt Vince. And really the only goal came with 12 seconds left when, and I hope Halifax is watching this, Dane Smith threw the ball down the field to kill the clock, and it just kind of happened to deflect off of Kyle Buchanan's stick and into the open net. And that made the final 12-10. But again, like really without that empty net goal, this was a 1-goal game that really, you saw the momentum shift back and forth. And I think the Rush had the lead about 5 times, and just Buffalo just fought back, and pretty much what we expected out of game 1.
You know, it's the story of Buffalo, and it's been the story of Buffalo not just this season, but it was last year before that. It's you cannot let them stay within fight. You cannot let them stay close. And the Rush did literally everything they could to come out scoring and firing on all cylinders to put Buffalo out of the game, and they still couldn't keep Buffalo down.
Yeah. And to be fair, and I know Gary had mentioned it when we were watching the game, like when Buffalo was going on those 3-goal runs, at least the Rush were able to kill that momentum, and so that they weren't going on those 4, 5, 6-goal runs that we're used to seeing out of Buffalo. So, you know, a bit of kudos there. And I know, like, talking to Derek Keenan after game 2, he said he actually felt that they played actually a really good game on the Friday night there, but they just couldn't score in that fourth quarter, especially when it's a 1-goal game. That game is still definitely in reach.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually in reach. I mean, the last minute, I mean, Robert Church had a good open look, on that side, and just got caught up in the turf or whatever. And, unfortunate. I mean, if he gets a quality shot off, we could have been looking at overtime easily.
Oh, yeah.
In that game.
And here's my great thing about this is that the Rush knew the mistakes that they made in game 1, obviously, because they were able to come back in game 2 and secure the victory, forcing game 3.
Yeah, I guess that takes us to game 2 with the 11-10 win for the Rush. And yeah, I mean, again, the Rush did the same thing. They came out quick with, Boudreau. Now you're seeing the transition game going with the Rush. Shanks again and Keenan. Now the Rush are up to a 3-0 lead right off the bat. And now you're making Buffalo play catch up. Dane Smith scored to finish off the first quarter. But then you had Ian McKay and Smith again to tie it up. The Rush finally got their power play going. Ryan Keenan scored. You got another one from Zach Mans, who's again, I know, again, Derek Keenan said this is the best he's seen Mans play now in this playoff. So he's been really happy with his production. Puts the Rush up again by 2. But again, it's a similar story to game 1, right? You got Clay Scanlon, Ian McKay, and Scanlon again, and Buffalo jumped out to lead. But, and I know Derek Keenan really kind of keyed in on this, Jake Boudreau scored with 0.9 seconds left on the clock before the half to tie it. That was huge. Yeah, that was huge. And he couldn't emphasize that goal. And then going to the third quarter, Chase Fraser with a
unbelievable goal.
Crazy goal. Like, does this guy not score just highlight reel goal after highlight reel goal?
Behind the back, running the other way.
Yeah, one-handed. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But this was the other. Yeah, but this is the other goal that Derek Ian highlighted. Brock Haley with 5:22 on the clock tied it up again to keep them within reach. And again, he can't say enough great things about what Brock Haley's brought to this team. Josh Byrne, who got another goal. Funny enough, Burns only had 2 goals this series. And I know you see Gary say, well, maybe get to Robert Church in a bit, but Clark Walter tied it up. Chase Fraser again with 32 seconds left. Buffalo's up 9-8. Similar story to the night before, Friday night. Difference is the Rush came to play in the fourth quarter. A power play goal
Use
by
Fraser
Zach.
again on a broken play though, to give them the lead.
Yeah,
Because they couldn't pick up the loose ball. Buchanan finds Fraser, who just absolutely turns Ciliano inside out, putting it over his shoulder.
Yeah.
And with 32 seconds left in the third, I thought that was going to deflate them. But to their
yeah,
credit,
you know,
they played strong coming back.
yeah, and you know that was the thing, especially kind of in that third quarter. I noticed a lot of that with the defense with Saskatchewan. I don't know if it was just the young inexperience in the big moment, but there's a lot of just instead of picking up the loose ball, they were just kind of batting at it. And I didn't understand. And then it turned into a lot of turnovers like that ended up in the back of the net. And I didn't understand that. And I know we had talked about, what the Saskatchewan's defense was doing in the first quarter versus, the second when things kind of went off. What I noticed was, and this might seem a little counterintuitive, is the rush defense was playing aggressive. They weren't giving, specifically Byrne, because these players are going to go through Byrne and Smith. They were playing aggressive, staying on them, and not even just like giving them push or a Kostiuk, but getting sticks on hands so that
They're
they
making
can't.
guys pay.
Yeah, and just getting sticks on hands so that they can't get a clean shot off, or they can't get that clean pass up the middle. And I think that was the big difference is they started giving guys like specifically Smith open looks and kind of playing back a bit more, which, like I said, it may seem counterintuitive with such a strong defense with Buffalo, but if you stay aggressive on them and don't give them room, it seems like that's where they struggle. But to the fourth quarter, Zach Mann's on the power play, and then Austin Shanks shows up again with 2 goals to put Saskatchewan up by 2. And, then we know we're in for a wild ride at the end. Because Buffalo's not going to go away. Kyle Buchanan did score with the extra attacker with 1:05 left. But one thing I wanted to highlight too, that final shot that Buffalo took at the end of the game, you actually watch Holden Garland. He put his head down and almost looked like it actually hit his hand, actually, but he was fully prepared to take that shot off his head if that's what it meant.
That's
stop that shot. Like, these guys are sacrificing. They want it. They're sacrificing everything.
That's what I was going to mention. I was going to mention that the block shot by Garland right at the end, possibly that not even just like him fully putting his body on the line, like you said, fully ready to go because he wants it. Like how much he wants it. Like, I personally thought it nailed him in the head. I'm like, he just literally gave up his head for that. What a man. What a specimen right there. But for that block shot to come in that moment of time, it physically saved the game for Saskatchewan. Because, just the lacrosse gods love Buffalo. If that shot gets through, that probably goes in. It's obviously a 50-50 shot. It's a 50-50 chance when the shot goes off, and without Garland being there, it's scary.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to Halifax where you literally saw Mike Messenger dive to make a loose ball. Like, this team. And I want to take nothing away from Buffalo and what they're doing, but Saskatchewan, at least from my perspective, they got that heart. Like, they're just not going to give up on any given play. And not to say Buffalo wouldn't either, but it's just they put in that little extra into it. And like I was talking with Josh Byrne, we're talking about Robert Church. He hasn't had a goal this series yet. And yet you see what Saskatchewan's doing, and you wonder if that's maybe a defensive thing where they're really keening in on Church and they're opening up someone like Shanks.
Byrne got a goal in the end of the game there, right? The third quarter.
So,
Byrne did not Church. So
not Church. But that's what I'm saying. Byrne has 2 goals. Like, even for Byrne, like for this series, that's not a Josh Byrne like number, right? Yeah. But Robert Church, but But I'm saying Robert Church does not have a goal this series yet, and it's some Derek kind of laughed off during the press conference saying like he's due,
Right.
and it's one of those things. Like, first of all, is that a defensive scheme where you're seeing guys keening in on Church, and that's why you're seeing Shanks putting so much back there, is because they're leaving him, or is it just he's just due? It's just not dropping for him right now, and if it is the fact that he's just due, as we discussed, Buffalo might be in a world of hurt.
Right. Well, let's listen to Jimmy Quinlan, what he had to say at the end of the game.
Rush for heading to the NLL finals for the first time since 2018. What's this moment mean for you and the group, and what was that moment like in the locker room when you guys got off the program?
Oh, it was special. It probably hasn't really sunk in, to be honest with you. The way we just won that game is pretty surreal, to be honest.
Sorry, I believe I got the wrong one.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the Halifax game.
That's the Halifax game. Give me a second. Let's get the group. Toot the gang.
Yeah, this will be Shanks and
Austin, you guys are still alive and have the opportunity now to win this series and win an NLL championship next week. Just what did it take in the pretty fashion that you guys did today to get this done?
I took a full 60, and that's what we've been kind of grinding and doing all year. Getting a chance and having this opportunity is awesome, but it's hard work and it's sacrifice. And
perfect time for you to give out.
Yeah. Good old Rogers.
Yeah.
Striking again.
Yeah.
it was a full team effort. That's all it was. 60 minutes.
Derek, this opportunity for the team now to head into Buffalo and try and complete the job. What does this opportunity mean for this group and the way you guys are able to get it done tonight with a lot of shot blocks?
I think these guys and Jimmy talk about it a lot. It's another weekend they get to spend together, and that's huge for them. They're a special group, and it was a tough game tonight. They're a handful. They got some serious weapons on offense, and we just kind of hung in. And I also thought too, like Shanksy and a couple of our old guys made some really smart plays in the fourth quarter when we felt they had a couple guys who'd been up and down the floor a few times and a little fatigued, and we attacked them and took advantage of that. And that's just smart lacrosse, because it was a hard game. I didn't think we were our best at times, but we just kind of hung around long enough for these guys to make some plays in the fourth quarter. I also thought that the goal that Boudreau got at the end of the half was huge.
Yeah.
Just made a great play and tied it up. And, at the end of the day, it's a 1-goal game, so it's big.
Awesome. That goal by Jake, what does that do for the group heading into the break there, tying things up and giving you guys that little extra boost into next longer?
It's huge. Stopping their runs is massive. They can go on runs, and stopping them's huge, and they're on a bit of a run there. And for Bowie to score that in transition and the hard defense to get up there, going in the locker room, just give us some energy, and stop their run, and it gave us time to go and some energy in that locker room coming out in the third quarter.
In this playoffs, you guys are undefeated on your home floor in the 3 games that you played. What has been the reason for that and getting you to this point of having such consistent play here at home?
We love playing at home. Our fans are great, and it's home floor. It's a pride thing, and it's an energy thing, and we just grind for 60 minutes, and home or away, we're going to take that championship next weekend.
Question for Derek. 2023, you had an open letter to the fans saying, have patience, get back. You're 1 win away now. What's your message to fans now?
Thank you. I recall that now. I think I might have talked about it last week. We had a plan, and we knew it was going to take a little bit. Last year we were close, but the young group has matured. But I just thank them for sticking with us, and you can see the growth again, getting back to where it was in our heyday there, and we're very appreciative of that, and our guys. And I think I don't know how many we had tonight in the building, 9,000 and plus or whatever, but they were loud and proud, and I think they're proud of our guys, as I am.
Is there a moment maybe in the third quarter where didn't break or sort of fall off, but there maybe got bent a little bit by the way that the game was going, and maybe just a couple of unsuccessful offensive runs, and then sort of having to go and play extended 30 plus, or maybe 30s worth of D in the middle. Was there anything said on the bench?
Well, we got a little stagnant because I just thought we stopped getting to the middle of the floor. And like I've said with Buffalo, they're a hard team to play because they plug it in pretty tight and they're big bodies, but you still have to get there. Yeah, you have to, battle through that and find the middle of the floor. And I thought we went a little bit stagnant doing that for a large portion of the third quarter. And then I think it was Clark Walter got a big goal for us. And I thought it was a great shot he made, but Zach Mans made that play because he cut hard through the middle, created space, and he got around the top and made a nice shot. So again, that's getting through the middle and paying that price. I thought Manzi and a bunch of the old guys tonight were just really, really dynamic, and he probably Manzi's best game of the playoffs, I thought, and he's a handful as well. Like they have a lot of good athletes on their offense, and he's kind of our guy that can break teams down, and he was good at that tonight.
Two more questions, guys?
I guess just for Derek or Austin. Game one doesn't go your way. Buffalo was able to grind that one out. What did you take from that game to be able to grind out to the game here today? And what can you take from tonight heading into Buffalo next week?
I can take that one.
Well, I thought we played really well Friday night, actually. And I thought Vino was outstanding, and as he always is. And, we just couldn't get that goal in the fourth quarter, whereas tonight we did. And that's just about making plays. If you compare the two games, Friday night Buffalo made some plays in the fourth quarter when they really needed it, and we didn't. So that's really the difference. And it's a very, very fine line, and it's going to be tough in there next week, but we'll be prepared.
Last question, guys.
Yeah, I guess one for Austin. Kind of felt like Buffalo was able to isolate you a bit out there. You got an early goal, and then it kind of felt like they almost threw you into the corner there. How difficult was it out there for you? Did you feel like they were playing you more, tough on defense there?
No, not really. I've spoken about this offense. We're a team offense. So, if they want to pressure and push me out, then I'll start passing. I'll start setting more picks. This team, we just want to win, and we don't care who shoots the ball, who scores the goals, who does what, but we all grind for each other, and we're so happy for each other's success. So, that was fine. I just stepped back from shooting a little bit and made some more passes. And Churchy, he's been grinding so hard in there on the right side and setting huge picks and allowing me to have success there. So he's been so good. And like Coach K said, Manzi and Ryan, those guys so athletic. And Clark, our whole offense. Brock had a huge goal as a rookie. We're just a team by offense. We want to win, and we're happy for each other's success. We're going to grind for each other.
I think the good news for us probably is Robert hasn't scored yet, and so he's probably due for next week, which bodes well for us probably.
He's a beast.
Thanks, guys.
All right. That about says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Absolutely.
I one of my favorite things, and it's not even just a thing with Saskatchewan, but it's a thing across the league. It's the unwavering confidence from coaches and their players. You never say like, they had that, they couldn't have that. Like, it's always like, oh, he's due. Watch him now. Now I guarantee Robert's getting 4 next game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think especially with this group of the Rush is their confidence has been growing and growing and growing all season. And that line, I think, is just perfect. What Derek said with this entire series is it's a fine line.
Yeah, they need to keep
You've really seen one, truthfully, other than the empty net goal, you've really seen one goal games both ways. So just one small mistake could mean the difference.
Well, if there's anything that I noticed in the first game when the scoring stopped, is their offense changed. They stopped going inside. They stopped doing the things that worked early in the game. And by the time they started getting back to it, it was already, Buffalo had more or less taken it over with their fans and that and the other. They still could have come back and still won, but it just seemed as though they just changed things up a little bit. And when Buffalo got on the runs, again, the defense got a little bit sloppy. If they can tighten up for a full 60, there's no reason they couldn't have won both games.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'll take it a little bit further with that, Gary, with that fourth quarter. The offense, and I think this is really the first time we saw it all year, they almost seemed like they panicked and were kind of trying to force shots that really weren't there, which was very unusual for this rush team. And like Derek said, Buffalo's going to take away that middle, so you can't be afraid to take that hit and get in that dirty area. This isn't a beauty pageant. If you score an ugly one, you score an ugly one. It still all counts the same.
That's it. If you're planning on doing things outside of that, you're not going to be very successful because those are the shots that Matt Vince wants to see. The first thing, Saskatchewan's been masters of this in both games, is to score quickly and make Matt Vince uncomfortable. As soon as he gets locked in, it's a whole other realm of goalie you face. If you can get him disheveled a little bit at the beginning, then you can start working with that. And Saskatchewan's been great at that through this series. Now I say that and watch, they won't score for the first 12 minutes. All bets are up. Well, that brings us to our
12-1 when their opponents score first.
Yeah, I was going to say, you look at when they scores first.
And they've scored first the first two games of this series. So
I don't think they want to test that out in game 3, though.
No, probably not.
Probably not.
I remember the Colorado game where that was tested and it just kept falling down. And that's after Colorado had stunned them the year previous. So no, I don't think with that much riding, it's going to be a full house in Bandit Land. It's going to be nuts. They'll be hooked on Phoenix going, hooked on Phonics going, and there'll be counting going, all kinds of things going. So,
as long as they're not doing the Monty Python counting and saying 1, 2, 5.
That depends what section.
Yeah, we have our mascot getting out the ladder and putting a bandit guy on the table, taking up to the table.
That was great. I love that video. All right, our mini little pick'ems. Caden, who are you going with for game 3?
Give me the rush.
Mike?
I think that the momentum is just gonna. I think the momentum swing from game 2 is gonna push the rush past Buffalo.
Mike?
Oh boy. As much as I like the momentum of the rush, this is Bandit Land. This is game 3. They're back-to-back champs for a reason. And this could be the swan song for Matt Vince here. It's hard not to forget what, or hard to forget what he did to Colorado 2 years ago in game 3. So, I'm gonna go with Buffalo. It might change by the end of the week, but
all right, Shawn, you're going with Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
I knew it.
No, honestly, I'm kind of like Mike in the way that, your gut kind of tells you Buffalo, but there's just something about the Saskatchewan team.
I know Pat's going with Buffalo. So if I was smart and just wanted to walk away with our pick'ems, I would go with Buffalo.
Just pick Buffalo.
So why the hell have I done anything smart? So
there you go.
Let's go.
There you are. I just think it's their year. I just think that there's, like Austin Shanks was saying in the press conference, we're just going to go and take it. They don't.
Oh, just as he's giving his explanation.
Yeah.
The Buffalo people, they're trying to cut me off. They have the kill switch. But yeah, I think that just one way or another, whether it's a ball off the butt or whatever, it doesn't make a difference. Somehow it's going to be close as hell.
Yeah. Expect
And
another one
as
goal
long
game.
as they can keep Buffalo off the runs, they have a good enough defense and they have a talented enough offense. And Sliano's been out of his mind crazy in that.
Mhm.
And has made, in my eyes, 0 mistakes in the series. 0.
He's really gone toe to toe with Vince this entire series.
Yeah.
And Vince is the best of all time.
And, you know, this is
basically.
the Sliano I saw play for Langley a couple of years ago in the Mann Cup. And they took Peterborough to the end of the third quarter. Well, you know, it was tied in game 7 going into the third period. And, you know, just Peterborough just poured it on. But it was that close. But it's what I see again. So does he have the ability to do it? Yes. And do the guys have faith in him? Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as long as they don't make any egregious errors, I think that if it comes down close, Buffalo starts panicking at home when the fans aren't a 6th, 7th man. If they're not winning, they'll turn, and then Buffalo's taking penalties. Then it becomes a free-for-all.
Mm-hmm.
And if it gets into there and Saskatchewan can exercise their power play muscle, we got a whole different game.
That is definitely the question mark. That's definitely the question mark because the Saskatchewan power play has struggled.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to get their power play going if that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if they can frustrate Buffalo, and they started doing it in game 2. Now Buffalo got away from it because they got a couple of goals. But if they can continue to frustrate Buffalo and get these opportunities, first off, Buffalo is on the defensive then for big stretches, which stops runs.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, it gives Saskatchewan a number of opportunities. But they have to be physical and get inside, crashing the net. Not being afraid of what's going on in there. If they can do that, we could see a new champion in town. If they don't do that, we're going to be talking about a Buffalo 3-peat. It's just that simple. It's not Galini stuff. It's not MIT stuff. It really comes down to that.
Yeah, I will point out with the penalties. You know, it's definitely a good point, but penalties almost kind of power plays are kind of at a premium here.
Yeah,
You know,
real rest of them calling
game 1. I'm just saying, looking at game 1, Buffalo had 8 penalty minutes. Sask had 6. Game 2, Buffalo had 8. Sask had 4. Yep. So
it's a testament to Charles Crossman and to Chris Williams that they've let them play. Both crews have let them play. Now, I don't want to see a crew that's going to call every ticky-tack thing, and we're going to have 74 whistles, and they are the reason why there's a champion. I don't want to see that. And that's not a good look for the league. Yeah, so if they keep doing what they're doing, I think they're right on the money. Because if I didn't know who was reffing by seeing these guys all year round, I wouldn't even notice them, which is great. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Let the players decide this thing within reason, of course. Alrighty. Well, that'll do us for this week. I want to thank everybody for being with us as always. Again, it is our 3rd anniversary under the All Lacrosse moniker. Happy anniversary, all. It is our privilege as well as our pleasure to give you information up to the minute, up to date, which reminds me, just bringing up the Brampton Six Nations game. Mike, are you still sitting?
I am.
Six Nations has gone ahead 5-4.
Okay.
Ooh.
We are.
This is
I
interesting.
believe we're in the second. But, it's tough to tell because right now, the way their stats are, everything's in the first. Hell of a long period. Shots are 31-30 in favor of Brampton.
Oh.
We're at the end of the second. We are at the end of the second.
Did Unknown score anymore?
Yes, quite a few actually.
It's a night of unknowns.
Let's go.
Night of unknowns, yeah.
Yep.
I gotta get a Brampton.
Shane Jackson got one, but this was Of course, it was shorthanded because unknown was in the penalty box.
I had to get myself an unknown jersey.
Yeah.
Has no number.
This is
Just a
unknown.
question mark under
Just a
that.
question mark, yeah.
Unknown and a question mark. Brampton
The two
unknown
Brampton
question
goals
mark.
previous to that were both by unknowns. But one of the assists went to undefined Matt Pereira.
Find.
Lyle Thompson got one from Brad Cree. Tyson Bell, he's making all kinds of name in here. Roughing. Then unknown with a legal cross check. But they did get a goal at that point. It was unknown from unknown and unknown. I love this website.
Unknown from unknown and unknown.
Yep. So when will this game go up on our page? That's unknown as well.
It's unknown.
Until I can get people and some stats, it's going to be tough to get it up for you.
That's also unknown.
Yeah.
I'll have to rewatch the film. That's okay. Anyways,
Hopefully, Shawn and I
again-
won't have the same problem this week with.
Yeah, hopefully WLA usually their website's usually not as bad.
It's just the Six Nations games at times are a little bit sketchy. I'm actually still waiting for them to put up the game in OSL from a week ago Friday. I had a referee sheet to get my stats from, but God, it hasn't made it up onto the website yet. So the stats are still off a little bit on the website there because of that one game missing, which is strange. But hey, it is what it is. It's summer ball. It's funny though because Ziggy Mugio came up with an interesting point. Is if these things are unreliable, how do we have records in these leagues now? How can we keep anything and be a testament to somebody breaking a record if we can't keep simple stats from simple games?
I'll take that another step further. Get myself in trouble a bit here, but Rocky Mountain Lacrosse League, like the Alberta Junior A, their website's absolutely terrible. And that's what everyone keeps saying. Like, do you want to be taken seriously as a Junior A league, especially with everything in BC and Ontario?
Yeah,
keep your stats up. Like, have a decent website where people can actually follow you.
Absolutely. All right. Remember, we are on Facebook. We are on Twitter, X. We are on Instagram. We are on Thread. We are on YouTube, as well as on www.streampunkentertainment.com. Come check back a number of times during the day because the news is always changing and we have our fingers on the pulse of the situation always. As soon as we know it, you know it. And we take great pride in being up to date and up to the minute with the information being correct and being quick back to you. Last words, Caden. Caden, let's start with you.
Oh, what a rush. This is the only way it could end. A great NLL season like this could only end in a game 3 in Bandit Land, it feels like. This is going to be a great game. I cannot wait. And it's been a pleasure. What a season. Can't wait for the PLL to start.
Absolutely. Shawn, let's go to you. Last words.
Yeah, same thing as my little moniker says there. This series deserved a game 3. Just the way it's gone and how tight it's been. Like, man, we need one more game of this. But it's been amazing, and especially out here in Saskatchewan, we've been longing for this for a while. Even if we don't take it, this team has come a long ways in the last few years, and in Derek Keenan we trust. He just seems to be able to rebuild these things every time and again.
Absolutely. Mike, last words to you.
Yeah, just Saturday's going to be quite the day. So again, NCAA Division I Final Four. We got Penn State, Maryland, Cornell, Syracuse going to battle. And then after those games are over, ESPN 2, 4:30 Eastern Time is game 3. So tune in.
Absolutely. It's going to be a barn burner of a weekend. OSL's in full swing, MSL's in full swing. We'll have everything for you up to the minute. There are already some huge games coming up for the next weekend in both OSL and MSL, as well as junior. So if you're in the Ontario region and you're looking for something to do, there is a lot of affordable lacrosse and a lot of NLL players and a lot of up and coming to the NLL players are on the docket there. So go out and support it, and you're not going to be disappointed. You're going to see some excellent lacrosse at really, really discount prices. And if you go to Mimico, get their back bacon sandwich because they're awesome, man. Chicken wrap, if you're in-
I was gonna say, how's it compared to the chicken wrap?
totally different. One is a must-have, and the other one is a tide me over till I can drive an hour and a half back. They're both awesome. Every barn has got its own little ambiance. That's the beauty of it, and I love hitting each and every one of them. So, for Caden Balint, for Shawn Slaght, for Muffler Mike, I'm Gary Groob, wishing you the best of weeks. Remember, keep your sticks high, keep your spirits higher, and until we meet again next Sunday at 8 p.m. to go over everything that was, have yourselves a great week. See you next week, everybody.